Welcome everybody. This is week 3 of how to create a powerful high ticket offer and also how to sell it. So today we're getting to the first week of where we're going to talk about how to sell your sustainable offer. So how to create a sustainable offer that sells. And so if you missed the first 2 weeks, it's really imperative that like you have nailed your offer. So many times what I see is that people think that they have an offer that sounds good, that feels good, that aligns with their clients, but then they start selling it and realize it's not exactly what people want. And since so much shifts in those conversations that you end up coming up with something that you figured you should have created in the first place. So the past 2 weeks have really been to give you a foundation of how to really create a high ticket offer that sells. And if you do it right, it's scalable. So meaning that you don't have to max out your schedule completely for it to be sustainable for you. You can be able to collaborate with other people or to create in a way that is serviceable for you and for your clients. So if you missed the past 2 weeks, then I would suggest that you comment below. I'm gonna see if I can like get on the live here. I can't see it on Facebook. And just tag me and ask me to tag you into the other 2 weeks so that you can get that foundation, because I think it's super, super successful and important to lay that groundwork first. And then we're going to talk about sales, because you can't really sell anything. The truth with intuitive sales is you can't sell anything you're not super excited about, period. Because we're not using sleazy sales tactics. We're not selling things that we don't like to people just to kind of scam them or put one over their head. We really have to sell what we believe in and sell what we're passionate about. And if you're really, really passionate about your high ticket offer, this is going to be really, really easy. And if you know that it's going to help them, if you know it's going to provide that transformation, if you know, boom, 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 this is going to be a breeze. And if you're struggling with sales, it's either the offer isn't good or your mindset's not good. Okay. So when you come at it, and we're going to go into this today, when you come at it from that perspective of like, you are actually providing a deep value service to your clients and really seeing what it does for them, this is a kind of a no-brainer situation. You're like, well, I'm really going to be able to provide them the value that they're asking for. So I want to be of service to them to help them get to that next step with my support. So I'm going to make sure I offer what I'm doing. That hesitation, that fear tends to go away, and it gets better the more you do it. Okay. So today we're going to talk about how to create that sustainable offer and sell it. So we're going to talk about a couple points around the offer itself, and what happens if you're on a discovery call and something doesn't feel aligned and you need to shift, and also how to start selling. So when you're on a discovery call and you're selling to somebody, basically pitching your offer at the end, if they're aligned, we're going to walk through all that. And then next week, we're actually going to go more into sales, even deeper, and then possible objections that come up and how I handle them on calls. And I handle them very differently than other more aggressive traditional coaches and business sales gurus. So let me go ahead and bring up my notes here because I just lost them. 1 second. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive back in. We're going to do a little recap just so that you guys understand, because you're going to see how all of this overlaps. Okay. And so we were talking last week about the 5 points that are really essential in a high ticket offer. And we talked about the why, the what, the how, the when and where, and the price. And you'll notice in that video, I actually dive deeper behind like, oh yeah, you just need to have your mission. No, like it needs to be a big deep dive connection to like why somebody would even choose this in the first place, why this is a vehicle to the transformation. Same thing to the what, like what does it actually do for the client? Not what you think it does, what they actually are wanting. And so that actually changes how you deliver the offer, how you pitch the offer, all of that. So you really want to get clear on those things. And same thing with the how. Now to create a sustainable offer, this is the first thing that we're going to go into. What I notice is that especially for solo entrepreneurs who are just like, it's just them in their business, and you don't really have a team yet, or you don't have other support coaches to work with you, it gets a little stressful, because what ends up happening is you do everything in your business. Okay, so you do like this marketing, you do the sales, you do the social media, you do the discovery calls, you also provide the service, you also are creating all the modules. So it becomes really, really overwhelming. And so when we're looking at the how, so let's just take the how section first for a minute, because what the goal in this training is to get it sustainable and then we're going to talk about how to sell it, is if you are noticing that your offer is really aligned, but it's like all heavy on you. And for most of you doing one-on-one, that's like the essential piece. Like you are just you, it's just you doing the thing. You're trying to grow your business so that you can scale, right? Or so that you can grow or hire somebody else to help you with the other tasks that you don't want to do. If you're noticing that you're selling your high ticket offer, but you immediately are like, if I get two more clients, I'm going to be maxed out. I'm going to be maxed out energy wise, maybe not maxed out booked out wise, but maxed out energy wise. Here's what I highly recommend to make this sustainable. I would highly recommend you bringing in collaborative coaches to support you in your offerings. Now, this is something that I really started doing this year because I literally got burned out of doing one-on-one and even doing group. And not that I don't like it. So hear me. It's not that I didn't like it, is that I couldn't handle the energy piece. Now, I am also a 4/6 manifester, so my amount of energy available to me is a little bit lower than maybe the rest of you. So I really had to be like honest with myself of like, how do I sustainably keep doing the work that I love without like putting everything on my plate? Okay, so what I ended up doing is I ended up just basically collaborating with 3 other coaches. So my mastermind's a little bit deeper and more of a deep dive, and I'm also in a different place in my business. So I hired 3 coaches to come do collaborative support. Now, for you to make this sustainable, you may have it be where like you collaborate with one person to do mindset work or to do breath work or whatever it is that your focus is. They do like 1 or 2 sessions a month, and you can pay them on a contract basis. Okay. And the reason why I bring this up now is what I've noticed with my clients is that they're so busy growing their business that eventually they hit this wall really quickly because you start signing on these high ticket clients. I'm talking like 2 or 3. And then you're like, oh my God, this is a lot. And so what ends up happening is at that point, you start self-sabotaging yourself from not making another sale, not actually growing more in your business because you energetically can't handle it anymore. You think you can handle 10 one-on-one clients when really you can only handle 3. So I want you guys to like take a moment and just get like really honest with yourselves around how much energy do you actually have to do one-on-one? How much energy do you actually have to do group? Okay? Because we're all very different. And in my mastermind, we take this into account based on your human design. So me as a manifester, I really have to rely on my structures, my systems, and my support team. I have to. Like, it is just essential for me. If I don't, I burn out very quickly and I just kind of stop doing all the things. So if you're like a generator, an MG, you actually work better. You have more time, more energy, more like fuel in the tank to kind of drive and put things forward, but you work actually better in collaboration. So what I would suggest here is to really feel into, you know, the people that you would love to work with to help your clients, just on a contract basis, where they're able to really just help you take that load off. Or maybe it's those other pieces in your business that you don't really like the media managing or, you know, posting or content writing or managing your website. So stuff like that, really start looking at what are those pieces that really take up a lot of my energy. They don't even have to be support coaches, but what are those pieces, and see about how like those are kind of your next step to like free up that energy so that you can serve more people. Okay, and then kind of break that down for you. And the reason why I like to do it this way is because I've noticed that when I started giving myself goals of like, okay, when I hit this kind of income or this many clients, I'm going to hire these coaches. When I hit this many income or this many clients, I'm going to hire another content writer. When I hit this many people, I'm going to hire another. And so it gives you kind of these like internal energetic goals of like, as I grow, I get to receive more support. As you grow, you get to receive more accountability and more people helping you and supporting you. And I think it's a disservice to not talk about this before we get into sales, because what ends up happening is when you're really aligned and really fired up, you start selling really well and start signing up clients really quickly. That's what happened to me. And then I was like immediately backed out and burned out. And so it may not happen to all of you, but I like to bring this up because, you know, manifestors and projectors especially, and even generators, MGs who have a very open chart, you really like just don't have a lot of that drive and gusto. So you end up, not always the case, but just tune into this. Like for me, the truth is that I ended up self-sabotaging myself from not making those sales because I just couldn't handle that. So really tune into like what are the things that are on your plate right now that you could free up time. If you could free up that time, it would make your day so much better. You could actually focus on, taking a few more sales calls or signing on some, 2, 3, 4, 5 new clients. Okay. What are those actual things that are taking up your time that really eat up that joy for you? And how can you outsource that? Okay. So go ahead and just like make a note of that because I promise you, as you're doing things in your daily day work, I'm sure most of you are thinking like, oh, it's on my website, or oh, it's a social media, or just having somebody manage that for you, or whatever. Write those things down, and as you're making that income, you get to hire that person, okay, or both, and depending on wherever you are in your business, okay. So let's dive into the sales part. Let me just double check something. I don't know why I can't see in Facebook. Um, okay, well, I can't really see you guys on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook watching, come jump over to Zoom and I'll see the comments later if you guys have questions. Okay, so let's go dive into the sales part. So you already have the foundation, the why, what, when, how, and price. Now we're going to dive into the discovery call, into the sales. So here's what I highly recommend, because this is a framework that I use. I think it's super efficient. I think it's super practical. There are other ways to sell, but I highly encourage you doing your own sales. So some of you may feel a little scared around sales or feel like you just don't have a good way to sell without feeling sleazy. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But the framework that I use is that I have my high ticket offer. People get on if people are interested, right, in the offer based on like posts that I've written or connecting to people, whatever. They will sign up with a discovery call, and then I get on the discovery call with them. If we are aligned, I go through this framework I'm about to go through. If we are aligned, then I share the invite. Okay. Notice that I keep saying that because you will notice that there are people that are just not at that stage. Okay. They're not in that stage in their business, or they're not energetically available, or you just don't actually want to work with that person, and that's totally okay. You just be honest of just like, hey, I don't think we're the right fit. I'm going to recommend you to such and such colleague. Okay. So that's kind of the framework that I highly suggest. There are other ways to do this that are more passive. I don't recommend that. When you have a high ticket offer that's $1,000 or more, $2,500, $3,000 or higher, people want to have that high touch. When you start to take that out of the equation, unless you have a really, really big brand and you have been working on your nurturing in your audience for a very long time, you can do that. But I still don't even like that. Energetically, if somebody's investing this amount of money and time, they deserve to have that connection in one-on-one time, whether it's with you or with your salesperson. Okay. And most of you don't have salespeople. That's why I say with you. Okay. Sales for me, I enjoy. So I like talking to people on the phone. I like being able to connect with them and just see exactly what they're needing. Okay. So when you're on a call with them, let's say somebody booked a discovery call with you, this is kind of the framework that I break down. I think it's really important to not skip these steps. And there's 5 steps here. This is the exact framework that I use in my discovery calls to this day. How I've landed 10,000 plus clients, $10,000 plus clients. And I don't have to feel sleazy. I don't have to feel pitchy. I just connect with them, I align with them, and then I invite them in. And next week, we'll go dive more into objections and some other things, and what that really actually means. And for some of you, you've also had probably some weird experiences with other coaches telling you how to sell in a more sleazy way so it doesn't feel aligned, okay? And you don't have to do that. I work with a coach right now who they use very aggressive sales tactics that I'm still like, no. So, and it's fine. It's fine for me. That's exactly how I work. So let's dive into it. Okay. So when you're on a discovery call, you get on the phone. And let's say we're talking to, I don't know, Karen. You have Karen on the phone. The first thing that you want to do, especially if you do not know this person very well, is to connect. And the whole connect portion, so number one, the whole connect portion is literally just to talk and chit chat. Like, oh my God, I got 2 feet of snow in Alaska. What's it like where you're at? Are you in Texas? Are you in Tennessee? Oh, you're in UK. Oh my gosh, so cool. Blah, 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 blah. And literally just have like a genuine conversation with a person. Like, how was your weekend? And just let that be like a connection point for a hot second. If it's somebody you've never connected with before and they're new, maybe they booked off your sales page or just in your DMs or your Instagram bio, Facebook, whatever, or your website, you want to actually spend more time here. So like, oh my gosh, Karen, you're in Texas. That's amazing. Where are you at? I've got friends down in Texas. Oh my gosh, you're in Houston. That's so cool. Like what part? Like I haven't been there yet, blah, blah, blah. Like literally just like get to know these people, guys. Intuitive sales is all about connection and alignment. You're so quick to jump to your pitch, jump to your offer without going through the connection phase. I promise you this isn't going to work for you. So you really just want to be patient. You really want to connect with a person. I would block out a 60-minute time period for calls. I usually do them down into 45 minutes with like a 15-minute buffer time. But for people who are new to sales, give yourself 60 minutes and each section should take a specific amount of time. So my connection time with people can take 5 minutes up to 15 minutes. Okay. It just depends on who the person is, what they've got going on. Like, let life be real. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk, but like, my dog's in the ER. Like, be real people. Don't be like, oh my gosh, that sucks. Okay. So let's get into that. Okay. That just died. I hope you guys can hear me. My earphones just died. Let me just double check. Okay, you guys can hear me. Awesome. So the first phase is just connection. Okay, that's the easiest one. Next thing you want to do, number 2, is setting the expectations of the call. Okay, you do not want to assume that they know what this is. Now, let me just back up for a hot minute about the energetics of a sales call or a discovery call. People are getting on the phone with you, especially if you position this correctly, asking for help. They may not even be interested in your offer yet. Now, I have questions when people book my discovery call, like a strategy call, like, are you ready now to invest time, energy into your business, into your growth, whatever? Most people say yes, but you need to be able to discern like what is happening on the call with the people and like how energetics on a call with somebody that you've just known, you just met doing sales is a little overwhelming. Like people are being brave enough to get on a call with you to ask for help. Okay, so you got to remember that people are being brave enough to get on a call to ask for help, and you need to just walk them through. They're getting on a call with you and they're expecting you in a way, this is energetically at least, to kind of hold a space for them of what the hell is going on. Like they need help, right? So you are here as the guide to just like walk them through what's going on. So you really need to have that energetic pillar of like truth and space in that moment with them. So when I set the expectations for the call, basically what I'm saying is like, hey Karen, like I'm so glad like we're connecting. I feel like we can talk all day, especially if you guys end up talking a while. I really want to get to like the meat of this call with you because I'm definitely here to help. But I just want to go over the like what this call is and the agenda of the call. And like this call is really going to be, and I'm business, right? So I'm business to business. So I basically see like this call is really going to be an overview of like what you're struggling with, what your pain points are in your business, where you're at, and what your goals are. And of course, I'm going to help you through this whole call, like seeing parts of your business that may need to shift. And if we are aligned, I will totally share how I work with my clients. Okay. So basically you're walking through the next 3 phases. So pain points, goals, invite them to a call. Okay. Those are the next 3 we're going to hit. Now you want to always set this expectation in the beginning. Always, always, always. In the very, very beginning of when I did coaching, I sometimes would skip this, especially if I knew the person. Highly recommend not to do that. And here's why, because what ends up happening is you just get into this friend-to-friend rapport, which is fine, but they're not actually seeing this as like you have an offer solution to what is actually happening. like you need to be able to tell them like, I know how to get you to where you go. This is why you say like, hey, like I want to walk through like all this stuff. I have some questions about like what's going on and if I can help. Like you need to know how to help them, and to help them you need to ask questions. If you're just kind of like having a buddy vent chat, the solutions aren't really apparent. They're not really clear. So you really want to set the expectations from the beginning, and it also saves you time. The other thing that I would say here is, and we'll talk about this more next week, is you want to make sure they're in a quiet place, that they have some time set aside. So they're not driving, they're not like bouncing bears with their kids, they're not like, you know, doing something else that can't devote their time, because this is going to bring up a lot of energy for them, specifically because you're talking about what's not working. And if you're doing transformational work, if you're doing healing work, which most of my clients are, like this is some touchy stuff. So you want to give them space to be like, hey, like we're going to touch on some deeper things to see what's really happening here. So I really want you to make sure you have time to process anything that comes up, because I guarantee you guys, and even with business, because money's hard, like knowing that you're struggling in your business sucks, like, and to acknowledge that pain to somebody that you just met over the phone, especially if you don't know them very well, is hard. So you need to make sure that you're honoring that with them and they're not just like driving down the road, not engaged. Okay. So you set the expectations for the call, and then you're going to move into the questions, into the pain points. Now, number 3 is pain points. It's probably the biggest, most important part of this call. And you really want to walk them through what's actually going on. This is also where you want to get really clear on like, are their struggles matching with your offer? If they don't match, you're not a good fit. Okay, so like for example, Karen gets on the call, and I work primarily with online spiritual women entrepreneurs. Okay, so if someone gets on the call with me and they're like, yeah, I really need help with my brick and mortar business and like Shopify e-commerce, and like I sell soap and I do this and then the other, they're not really an ideal client for me. I can help online e-commerce. I have done that before, but it's not really like my thing. And neither is brick and mortar. I do not have experience in brick and mortar for my own business. I've helped other businesses in their brick and mortar, so I do have some clarity there, but I know well and good that my value and work really shines with pure online businesses, specifically coaching or energy work or healing, that kind of modality. Okay. So if they're talking about their pain points and they're not matching, you need to be able to know right then and there at the end of this section of pain points, hey, like, I know I said I wanted to help you, but like, I'm just gonna be honest with you, that's not my work. And I feel like I'm gonna refer you to this colleague who does work with that type of stuff, okay? So this is you being of service as well, not just saying I can work with anybody because I think I can figure it out. Don't do that, guys, okay? So let's go into the pain points. So this is really diving into what is not working for your client. And the energy here that you really want to embody is like, I'm here to hold space for you, like I said, and I'm here to listen and to understand. Okay. You want to dive deep into like what they're actually struggling with. So here are some of the questions that I ask. Is I ask them what their biggest struggle is. Okay, what's the biggest struggle right now with your business? Or what's the biggest struggle right now with your marriage? Or what's the problem here with the boundaries, or with you understanding your inner child work, or whatever it is, insert your thing here. You need to talk about that. And they're going to tell you, okay? And then you want to basically use your coaching consulting framework to basically reflect it back to them. Okay, so like, okay, so I hear you say like you're really struggling, you're not able to get clients, you're kind of in a feast and famine in your business. Is that right? And she's like, yes, absolutely. And blah, 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 blah. So she's definitely going to like make sure that, you're hearing what she's saying, your actual words, and then reflecting that back. And then they're going to be able to just compound on top of that. Okay. So other questions that I like to ask is like, okay, so they asked about their struggle. Let's say Karen, is a business client and she's not able to get clients. She doesn't know how to do it. She's just been posting, praying, waiting for something to happen, and she's not really getting anywhere with her business, but she's kind of like still in this phase, right? Of like, well, if I just do this, it'll work, right? I don't really know. My next question to that, and this is for every niche, okay, is like, well, what have you tried? Okay, well, I've tried posting, or I've tried doing this, I've tried running challenges. And then the question following up to that is like, okay, why isn't that working then? Same thing with transformational work, guys. This is the same thing. I use the same framework when I was doing transformational life coaching. It's like, okay, so what have you tried to really like tune into your intuition and like unlock that wisdom within you? well, I'll just like meditate sometimes, or like I'll like go to like one or two like sound baths, but like I just figured it would come over time, but I'm like still frustrated about it, blah 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 blah. Okay, so like you've tried to do some work such as, sound baths, this and the other, but it's not working. Why isn't that working for you? So you're diving deeper. Okay, each question is going to clarify and dive deeper into what their struggles are really actually saying. Again, when we were back into our offer, I'm going to go back to last week. When you're talking about the what and the why, you have to see like what they're actually been wanting in their business, okay, in their work, in their, life, whatever that thing is. It reflects back to them in your offer. Are they actually asking for those things? Okay, those deeper solutions that they're wanting. Have they tried things to get to where they are, and why aren't they working? And because you're awesome and you have an amazing high ticket offer and you already know the can't say, will say, won't say part, you're going to be able to dive into that won't say on the call. If you can get to that won't say part, the part that they think in the middle of the night that nobody's going to listen to them, that the stuff that they think about when they don't share with anybody, if you can hit that stuff on the call, it's really going to clarify like, okay, like I hear you when you say blah blah blah. And that's the type of work that I do with my clients, because what that shows is that you see them on a core level, on a deep level, and they're going to understand that you understand them. You know that pain, you know that path, and your work with them is most likely going to bring them past those issues, right? It's going to solve that pain point. So basically, biggest struggle, have you tried? Why isn't it working? Another one that I really like is, what is the cost if you don't change? Okay. Now, some of my clients don't really like this question. I think it sounds a little too pitchy, but here's the truth, guys. Everything in life has a cause and effect. Everything in life has a consequence. Okay. If you chose to wake up today and close your business or continue your business, if you chose to, eat food or not eat food, or like do your workout or not work out, like everything has a tangible consequence. You may not see it directly, but you'll see it down the line. Okay. Whether that's taking care of your health, taking care of your spirit, taking care of your business, there are consequences, and it doesn't just impact you. It impacts your community, it impacts your family and your friends, and like life and how you show up in the world. So that's a really powerful question of what is the cost if things don't change. And I clarify that, like, how will this impact you and your family? How will this impact your children? How will this impact your community, your own self-worth, your own mission, your own value? Because the truth is like, that's the thing that most people, that this is really where I think the won't say most often comes out. Sometimes it comes out when you ask about like, why isn't it working? But the whole, what's the cost if it doesn't change? It really clarifies like those deep seated beliefs of like, yeah, if I'm not successful in my business, like I'm gonna have to close it down, get another job, and the goals that I have for like setting aside college for my kids is just not gonna happen. And we're gonna struggle, and we're gonna have to find something else, and we'll figure it out. But like, if there's a solution here to be able to do that, that's huge, right? Like, you're basically like, yeah, I can get you there. Like, I understand that. Okay. Especially if you're confident about your offer. So this one, what is the cost if things don't change, and how does it impact your family, kids, your spouse, your finances? That's huge. You really want to hit on that and like clarify what that struggle is for them. Okay. Also, side note, I didn't say this, but I always type notes when I'm on a call, because it helps me make sure I'm getting the exact words that my clients are struggling with. So, for you, they may be saying words that you've never really thought is the actual issue. So you really want to write those down. Okay. If you can, in your first few calls, I would record them just for yourself and use them as like, how can I improve and make this better? And if you can't do that, if they're not willing to let that happen, then I would just simply write notes. Okay. So number 3 is the pain points. And now this is where like things get a little down on the call. It's normal. You just are holding space for them. You're walking through the pain, like what's actually happening. And again, you're clarifying, like, is their struggle matching my offer? Can I actually help them? with what I actually do, not what I think I can do, with what I actually do. Okay. And if you can, then you continue on. Okay. If you can't, like I said, you refer them. So for the sake, Karen is like, yeah, like I don't know how to get clients. My business is feast or famine. Sometimes I have $5,000 a month. Sometimes I have zero. Right? She's really hitting all the points where I'm like, yeah, I totally work with those type of people. Awesome. Great. Let's get going. Okay. Then you shift into like the goal section. Okay. So I literally will say this on calls because it gets a little heavy for people. And I'm like, okay, let's just shake that out for a minute. Let's go ahead and switch gears. I really want to talk about like the whole point of why we do what we do, which is like, let's talk about your big goal. Okay. And this is more of like, what does your success look like for you? Or what is your insert your niche transformation look like for you? So if you are health and wellness, so what is like you being in your fittest and healthiest look like for you? Let's talk about your big dream goals. Okay. Or transformation. If you were in touch with your intuition and you were really connected with what your body was saying, what wisdom was saying, what your spirit was saying, how would that feel? Okay. So you really want to dive into whatever that transformational result is, again, because you know what that is because of your offer. You dive that into here in your goals. Okay, so this is number 4. This is the 4th section. Now, you really want to play up the goal section here because you really want to see, and this may be part of your offer, of like what level of dedication and result are they really asking for. If you work with health and wellness and somebody is, you work with people who want to lose like 50 to 100 pounds and they're like, well, I only need to lose like 10 pounds. They're probably not the most ideal client just because their motivation isn't big enough. They may need somebody who's, and this might be something you do, I don't know. Their motivation's different, right? Like they're toning, they're focusing on like really maximizing their efforts. They're already committed clearly to like losing weight. They're just maybe to lose that 5-10 stubborn pounds versus losing 50 to 100 pounds. Okay. Same thing with like any other work. If you're doing transformational work, right? I work with people who are just like kind of like in the beginning or has started their journey. So the people who have like already like understand and have taken Reiki or like understand like all these aspects of attunement and all that kind of stuff, those aren't really my super ideal clients. I loved working with them, but they weren't the people that I felt like I could help the most. Okay. So you just want to clarify that. So when you're in the goals, you want to ask them, what is it they actually want? Okay. What are their, like for me, it's like, what are your income service goals? So like all those little pieces around the goals around like whatever that is. Okay. So you want to ask all those clarifying questions. And these for you are going to be a little more specific. So mine back in the day were like, if your life could look, if you could be aligned with your intuition, what would that look like? How would you want this to feel in your everyday life? Asking those specific questions. If you don't really understand how to do that or how to clarify that for your niche, here's the kind of like the coverall question is you want to paint an analogy. So you say, if you can imagine yourself, like let's fast forward a year, 2 years from now. Okay. And you're living your best life, right? And this is about your niche. So I'm going to use business because it's easier for me. So you're living your best life. You're making your income goal. Let's say it's, $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever they're wanting. And you have this awesome team. You're able to travel when you want to post COVID. You're able to, spend a lot more time with your family. You're able to trust your business with your team, right? Like all these different parts, like what would that look like for you? And they're like, oh, I would feel amazing. Okay, no. Yeah, absolutely. So like you wake up in the morning, what time? Oh, like 7 a.m. I'm like a morning person. Okay, great. You wake up at 7 a.m. Then what happens? So you want to walk them through like their day. Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Really ground them in that next level reality and see how that feels for them. Because you'll notice like sometimes they play a little small on the call. Like, well, I just want to get to $5,000 a month, or I just want to get bare minimum $1,800 a month. But the truth is that when you're aligned with your offer and you're selling and you start growing your business, especially for my clients, it's like 1,800 is nothing. 5,000 is nothing. Okay. Like that's quick. Like that's we can grow much farther beyond that. So you really get to dive into like the big vision and let them dream a little bit and like tap into that, because half the time when people are looking for help is that they've most often, not all the time, kind of been beaten down in their spirit a little bit about like, this isn't actually possible, so I'm going to settle for the lowest tier available to me. And when you can say that, like, okay, great, we're going to definitely get you here, but we can also reach up to here and here and here, like, that's huge, right? So same thing with your work. You want to say, okay, so like 1 to 2 years from now, your life looks like this. You've lost this much weight, or you can intuit into your divine wisdom. You're using your gifts. You're stepping into your power. Blah blah blah. You have amazing boundaries. Whatever it is, what does that look like? How does that look like in your relationships, your spouse, your family, your kids, if they have them, your community, your business, like all of the things? How does that feel? And like let them go down through the list in their day. What does it look like? What do the interactions with their kids feel like, right? Like this is really about amping it up. And I'm staying here for a little bit because I want you guys to realize that when we can really see what we're really asking for, you can really uncover like what those sticky blocks are to actually get there for themselves. Okay. So that's kind of my coverall question. If you're having trouble like identifying specific questions for the goal section for your niche, but based on, what your transformation provides, you basically ask those same kind of questions. Okay. So that's number 4. That's the goals. And so at this point, we've connected, gave expectations, we've gone through all the pain points, and we've gone through all the goals. And it's like, awesome. This client is perfect. I definitely want to work with Karen. Super aligned, super amazing. She's got an amazing vision. I just want to work with her, right? This is where you want to move into the invitation or the pitch, if you want to call it that. I like invitation a little bit better because it just opens up that floodgate to say like, hey, I would love to work with you and I would love to share with you how I work with my clients. Now, what I actually say in the call is, again, once you have that yes, is you really want to invite them to hear how you do this work. So the question that I've always used is, wow, Karen, like, so I kind of reframe a little bit here before I say the question, but I'm just like, wow, Karen, like, your vision is huge. I can definitely get you to this income goal over a period of time. It's super humble. Like, I love your vision, blah, blah, blah. Are you ready to hear how I support my clients? I would love to share that with you, because I think exactly what you're asking for is what I can do. And they're like, yes. You want to wait for that yes. If they're not ready to hear it, they're not ready to hear it. And that's kind of next week when we go into that, there's going to be reasons why that didn't happen. So we'll talk about that. But most of the time it's a yes. Okay. So then you're going to go into your offer. Okay. That's why I said, like, you need to have your offers laid out first. Now, their offer is basically your why, what, when, where, how, and price. Okay. So if you don't have that set up, this is not going to be helpful for you. So when you get into the actual pitch, you actually want to lead with your mission. And this aligns with like what they're struggling with. So yeah, Karen, like my mission is really to help women expand their businesses so they can be of deeper service in their families and their communities and really start connecting with their mission more and like their divine purpose and sacred mission on this world. And I feel like your mission, your focus is exactly like the type of woman that I love to work with. Because I think your work really is powerful and really matters. And so you really just want to resonate that like, hey, like my mission aligns with your mission. Okay. That's powerful. That means more than really anything, honestly, because at that point, if they can trust you and believe that like you can actually help when you're walking through the deliverables and how you actually do this, they're going to realize that like they want to work with you because you guys are on the same wavelength. Okay. You guys have a similar kind of resonance here. So after that, you're going to go into recapping basically the pain points. And this is like the why, right? Why I created this program is because I see clients struggling with XYZ. Okay. And here's how I help them. Okay. So it's very quick. Like you're not going to spend forever on this. The reason why I had you do this last week was so that you really like understood, each section more, so that whatever those client pain points are, they're the same with your offer. You just use whatever words that they used because that's what you also do, right? So you connect with their client pain points saying like, hey, like I work with clients that struggle with XYZ. getting clients, with not knowing how to grow their business, with not knowing how to have sustainable income, and boom, boom, boom. So once you do that, you're going to share again why you created your what your offer is, okay, and why that's so powerful to help the clients where they're at. And then you're going to go into your hold on, your when and where. Like, where am I in my discovery call? This for me just is like a really easy flow. I feel like I'm missing a step for some reason. Yeah, how? On a call, this is so much easier than trying to teach it sometimes. Okay, so after you connect to them about the what and the pain points, you want to go into the how. And so here's how I get you to XYZ. Duh. See, guys, it's you don't have to be perfect. Okay, and so in the how, this is again where you map out like, I have these things that I touch on. I touch on boom, boom, boom. And here's how I do it. I do Zoom, I do this, I do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the how you get there, like the pillars of like what you focus on. So I focus on teaching clients how to organically get clients without ads. And then we talk about scaling, and then we talk about ads, and then we talk about funnels, and then we talk about this, so that you can really maximize your time and grow your business quickly without being maxed out energetically. Wow, that's amazing. Sounds so exciting. Cool. Okay, so, and the how, you're just going to briefly touch on the Zoom, the deliverables. And side note, that stuff is just not as important. It is like, it's 6 months, you get this amount of support, but that's just like, brass tacks. It's like a bullet point list of the things that they include. How you get them from here to here is more important. Okay, so if you're struggling here with $0 in your bank account, or less than $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month from your business, and you want to grow your business, I can get you there. Here's how I do it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Then you want to go into the when and where. And this is really where you're going to talk about, again, like how you're going to deliver this to them. Okay, what happened here? Here we go. And that is going to be all around basically how you deliver what you're delivering. Okay, so this is like an open enrollment, and there's going to be this many people, or maybe it's just a group, so you have 10 people, and talk about the energy of that. Okay. And before you get to the price, you actually want to ask. So you're going to stop. So before you did the why, you did the what, you did the how, you did the when and where. You're going to stop there. Okay. And then you're going to say, how does that all feel for you right now? And you're going to wait for the response. They're going to be like, wow, this is really amazing. Like, I feel like this is exactly the type of thing that I need right now. You're basically hitting all the things that I know that I've been struggling with. This is super exciting. Awesome. Now I invite the price, because you really want to see, like, does this even feel good for them? Because honestly, if like, so you know that they're aligned, you get all the way to like 90% of your pitch minus the price, and you're like, yeah, this would be a great person to work with. They have to want to work with you too. It has to be a yes and a yes, a win and a win. Okay. So when they get to that yes part, they have to say like, yeah, this is something I really would love to have, to excel me into whatever. Now, if they don't, right, that's doesn't really happen, but then like, okay, there's a misalignment here. We need to see like what they're actually wanting. Yeah, but I'm really needing more of this. Yeah, no, absolutely. Then you're going to clarify, like, again, the when and where and the what around your offer. So providing more implementation support, or maybe you're doing a lot more like one-on-one energy clearings. They're like, yeah, this sounds really good, and I love the group, but like, I really want more one-on-one with you. Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I could definitely have a slightly different way of doing that with clients. I really want to work with me more on one-on-one. Let's talk about the price and how that actually works. So you ready for that? Sure. And so once they say yes and they align with like what it is that you do, then you want to go into price, because the price doesn't matter if they don't want to work with you. That's why when people are like, what's the price? Just let me know. The price means nothing. It's like talking about a pair of pants that you don't fit in. It's like, it doesn't matter what they cost. They are not for you. Okay. And so they're just not your size. It doesn't matter what the price is. Like, they don't fit me. So why do I care how much they cost? Do you see what I'm saying? So then once you get here and you say, great, and let's get to brass tacks and talk dollars and cents. I always say that on my calls. Then you want to go into the price. Great. So, working with me for a 3-month capacity is, $2,500 or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever your prices are. delivered your payment offer as well, and wait. Okay. This is probably the hardest part for all of you when you're on a sales call is pausing. So you deliver your price. Yeah, working with me for 3 months is $5,000 to go from here to here. You're literally waiting for them to respond. Because here now, money always brings up stuff for everybody. We got a lot of money shit we got to work on, guys. They're going to resonate with, does this feel good for me? Can I do this? Or the fear of like, oh my God, can I make this work? How am I going to do this? Blah, 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 blah. You need to let them tell you what's going on. So give them a moment to let that sink in. This is what it is. Okay. And then you were going to talk about this more next week about what objections about how to change, payment plans, or if they want to think about it, or if they want to pray about it or meditate about it, like what to do, and how to do it intuitively aligned. Okay. And so let's just say that Karen's ready to go. Okay. Karen's like, okay, great. Like I can't do the pay in full, but I'd love to do like the 3 payments of like 1,300. Awesome. Cool. Let's do it. I will go ahead and send you over contract, get your invoice set up. And once those 2 things are done, you're in, and we'll go ahead and schedule our first call. Awesome. Okay. So that's like the best situation. That's the situation that everybody wants to happen. You get on a discovery call, it goes amazing well. They have the money right there and they can pay for it. Boom, go. Okay. Next week, like I said, we're going to talk more about like the nitty gritty. And this is what I think most people are worried about, is like what actually happens if they're like, well, I don't know, I need to think about it. Or, oh, I don't know if I have that much money. Okay, how do you actually approach that? Okay, how do you actually talk about that? So right now, this is basically the basic framework of like, you have your offer, here's how you sell it on the call. Okay, and the 5 points that I use for my framework is you want to connect, remember, just being like chit chat. If you don't know them, spend more time here. Okay. The next one that's really important, setting that expectation. Like, hey, here's the agenda for a call. Here's what we're here to do. I'm basically here just to help you and like see where we're at, see what you're struggling with. And of course, if we align, I will share with you how I support my clients through that. Awesome. 3, can't bend this one. That's good. Pain points. You want to spend time here. Okay. You want to spend like 20 minutes here, like 15, 20 minutes here, walking them through what they're struggling with, all the things. And then you want to go into goals. What are they wanting? What's that awesome island look like for them? What does life look like in a year or 2? And then you want to go into the price, but before you want to ask first, like, how does this all feel? This nice little package that we talked about. And then you want to go into your price. Okay. So once that is done and you've signed up this client, you're good to go. But chances are, and this is why I think you guys should be here for next week as well, is chances are that they're going to have some more sticky questions at the end, right? And this is where like, okay, well, how do I do this price instead of this price? Or, I just need to think about it, or I need to talk to my husband or talk to my wife or whatever it is. So when you're here on call, we're going to talk about this next week, is there is an intuitive way to match all these objections up. And they're not really objections. They're basically just clarification points. Objections mean no. The clients aren't a no, guys. If they get all the way down to the end of that call, they're not a no. They may be a not right now, but they're not a no. So I want you to clarify like the difference of energy there. If somebody's like gets on a call with you and you know that like they're a aligned client, but they're just not a right now, that's great. You get to follow up with them later. Okay. No is a not right now is not a no. A no is like a solid objection, like, no, this doesn't feel aligned for me. I don't think this is what I need. Bye. That never happens really, because you vetted your clients of who you're talking to. So next week, we're going to dive more into the objection piece, which I think will really help all of you into like what happens if they want to talk to their husband. How do you approach the money stuff? How do you, if they want to pray about it, sleep about it, clear about it, whatever, what do you do there? Okay. And I'll walk you through like how it works in my business and how you can still close sales, even if you don't close them on that first call. And to like give yourself a little bit of leeway. I've had many teachers teach me sales and say that if you don't pitch them and they don't sign up on that first call, it's done. I highly beg to differ. Sometimes people just need to work through some stuff, especially when you're, doing a lot of this deeper work. Um, Now you want to make sure that, like I said, you're really digging into the pain points. You're bringing that up again at the end, in connection with like how you help solve that issue, right, with your offer. But like I said, if they still have questions and stuff, we're going to talk about this more next week. But I hope that this framework helps you guys. It's really simple. It's really intuitive. Just connect, dive into the expectations, go into the pain points, talk about what they're wanting, and then eventually get to that price. You're good. You're solid. Part of this is just doing it and practicing it and like trusting yourself that what you're offering is valuable, and how to actually serve those people over time. Okay. So let's talk next week. Next week, we're going to talk more into the actual sales stuff, which is most of the objection piece, like I said. And I will go check on Facebook if anybody has commented, because I don't see anybody over here on Zoom. But lots of love, guys. And if you want me to tag you into the last 2 weeks about your offer, let me know below in the comments, and we'll talk soon.